Okay, hello everyone, and welcome to this month's session of UI5ers Live. I'm Andreas, and with me are my co-hosts, Margot, well, she's hidden today, Stefan.
Hi.
Hello, Stefan. And Peter Music.
Hi, everybody.
And as guests today, we have Jakob Kjaer from Australia dialed in, so it's in the middle of the night right now.
It's just past midnight now.
Okay, so it's already tomorrow. So we are not working on the same day now. Okay. And she will talk about the Onelogin middleware written by him. And we will do this first so he can go to bed as soon as he wants. Next one will be Marcel Schork. Hi, Marcel.
Hi, all together. Hi.
And Marcel will talk about adding support for user repositories in the Easy-UI5 application template generator. So you can have your own private or company templates as a basis to start your 5 applications. And last but not least, there will be Nico Geburek. Hi, Nico.
Hi, everyone.
So he's with the SAP Developer Advocates team and is now sort of the follower of Marius Obert, the new owner of the Easy-UI5 generator, and also doing other stuff like 2-minute videos for UI5 and so on. So he will talk about himself and the things he's doing. Okay, so before we start with that, we have 1 or 2 news to share. So one thing is that yesterday there was a code split for the 1.99 release, which is going to happen in a few days or close to the end of this month. And this means we are now working on the 1.100 snapshot release. So if you wondered what comes after 1.99, 100 is then the next release of UI5. So there are plenty of releases to come.
Now we have at least enough space till 9.99 to do the next big step.
So for the next 900 releases, you know what numbers are going to come.
Right, everything works fine now. Still some doubts that we're running a year 2000 problem, so to speak.
Okay.
Yeah, there was a little problem already found in one place where it could not display the 100. Let's let the community look for that. Maybe you find it.
Okay, and Stefan, when you spoke up now, is there anything else you want to share as news?
Yeah, quickly. So basically, you have heard in the community that we had a kind of forth and back with the web client and for mobile devices, especially the capability of the barcode scanning capability, which was most widely used. And now the good news is we already had shared the ones that we have the barcode scanner in our latest releases. But what you can now see, I didn't open it now on a mobile device, but at least what you can see here is that we have also brought this down to 1.71 code line. So that is the very long maintenance code line for which, mainly business suite customers are still bound to, and where also the older generation of Fiori apps is widely used. Therefore, we now have this capability down there. And that means if the Fiori client gets switched off, so to speak, there is no longer the problem, and there's this kind of barcode scanning capability that you can use. And if now the camera would not be occupied by Zoom, you would also see the camera window on a desktop with the Zoom capability. So as this one was a very strong ask from the community, this downport, now it's possible to be used. It's now available via UI5 patch. I think if you go for UI5 patch, there's even the 1.64, if I'm right, exactly. But the next SP of the front-end server in February will also contain this UI5 version that you then require. Just update to the highest SP. I guess it's 9 in February, and then you're good to go. Back to you.
Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah, we have to celebrate this now. Yeah.
The 1.100 release.
The 1.100 and the barcode scanner is also downported.
Don't put your house on fire.
I need to wait a bit.
Okay, let's come to Jakob now. Thanks, Stefan. Let's come to Jakob or Jakob now. the background, the sky reminds me always of how dark it is at your home already at midnight. So without further ado, let's start.
Some of you may know me as I've written a fair few blogs on the community in regards to UI5. I've been a UI5 developer pretty much since it started. Yeah, so I work with a large government client here in Australia where we're doing a global or a Fiori rollout to about 120,000 people. So because of that, we had to be quite aggressive in when we started our Fiori journey about 5 years ago. In regards to component reuse, etc. We are using SAML, which has always been a bit of a pain in regards to using local developments, even using WebID as we used before. So I finally got tired enough of this and decided to do something about it. So I created this plugin called Onelogin, or middleware, sorry, called Onelogin, which isn't a proxy in itself. The only thing it does is it basically logs into the launchpad that you're giving it, and then it sends the cookie onwards to another middleware. So what we've done in the ecosystem showcase is that I've implemented this, or together with Peter implemented this in, and I'm using this together with the simple proxy to have the simple proxy doing the actual proxying, but the Onelogin handling all the authentication, etc. I will just show you how it works. So I've got the ecosystem showcase here. This is something you can just pull and you do the yarn install. So inside here we have the packages and the UI5 middleware of the Onelogin. So this is the source code for it. We've added a sample folder. In this sample folder, there's currently 2 different folders. So there's one which shows you how to open up the Fiori Launchpad embedded inside your local host. So the reason for that is, especially if you're doing component reuse and using other apps, etc., traditionally you would have to maintain all the paths in your YAML file to make sure everything all the resources were fetched, etc. When you're using the embedded launchpad, you don't have to do that. The only thing you have to do is you need to tell it to stop, like your local app should be served from local, the rest should be served from your server side. And then the other one is the simple example, which is the example simple proxy and login. What we have here is nothing but a package.json and a YAML file. And inside the package.json, we've got the 2 dependencies, and then in the YAML file, we have the Onelogin on a simple proxy. The only thing is that you need to serve and use the Onelogin before you use the simple proxy. So here I'm going to the ES5 SAP Dev Center. We also have, in this, a .env file. So the .env is how to create your environment variables. Currently, there's just one in here, so this is for the login. So if I run yarn run start, it will now serve my page and open up the index. So what will also happen is it will ask me for the username and password. So instead of having everything stored in the .env file and accidentally maybe committing that to Git, you can just simply get it or type it in every time. So let me just find my password for this and username. So what will happen now is it opens up, as you can see, in a separate window, the launchpad, closes that down again, and then passes on the cookie. So this is because I set the mode currently to debug true. Otherwise, you wouldn't see that page. So it's just for you to identify whether it's working or not. But because it's now got the cookie, it can now authenticate with the simple proxy without any basic authentication or anything like that, and actually get the data served from ES5. So all this data is coming from the ES5 system. So it's really trying to sort of make it very, very easy to SAML or not get authenticated and use local development and the various OData services there. So what we'll do is, just to make it easy, I will create an example from scratch. So I've got the Easy-UI5 generator as well. So because I want to be part of the cool kids, I'll be using a TypeScript app.
Must have.
And we'll just default. Yeah, that's it. So we'll just default all of this. It'll run the npm install. And I will cd into that directory.
Yeah, this npm install is still pulling the whole trash bin.
Yeah, that's it. All right, so let's just do the installation of the Onelogin and the simple proxy. And then while we wait for that, we'll just open up VS Code. And let me put this to.
There could be also an Easy-UI5 generator who does that. Doing the npm install and then adding the default configuration to the YAML.
Yeah, well, that's certainly another option. Maybe I'll do another pull request on that. All right, so we've added and announced the package.json file. I'll just add them as dependencies down here as well. Cool. All right. So in the YAML file, we need to define the middlewares. So I'll create some custom snippets inside VS Code just to help me and I don't mistype. So if you're interested, under preferences here, you can do the user snippets. So we've added now to the YAML. So here we have the Onelogin. As you can see, there's hardly any config to it. The only thing here is this flag to say whether it's true or false. So false means it doesn't pop up with that login prompt, and true it will. So that will help you a bit to find out where the error potentially is. We need to create a .env file. In the .env file, we'll pass in, and these are mentioned in on the npm page, but oops, that's a bit too much here. So it needs to be pointing to the FLP. I've tried to see if it was working with the web GUI. It wasn't. So point it to the FLP plugin, because that's where you get the SAP cookie. And then I'll type in the username here as well. So I just have to pass in the password. Let's go and add the data source. So we're using the sample service and model. And then in the view, I'll just replace all of this with my sample. So very simple here, page with the sales order set, entity set, and some data from there. Now, fingers crossed. So it takes a little bit longer for the initial load, because it actually does behind the scenes this login and gets the cookie. So you can see currently, yeah, so it's waiting for me to type in the password. So that's good, I went there. And then once it's done with that, it will then continue the rendering. And eventually, hopefully, if there's no way.
It takes a bit development mode first time, loading, filling caches.
There we go. So we have the list and everything.
Cool.
And as you can see from the code, there's really no extra config. The simple proxy is handling the proxying to the SAP Dev Center. The Onelogin it's just using the environment variables to actually get the cookie. I have tested this with Azure AD and Google as well. I haven't been able to test it with a system running the IDP from that, but at least I know that it can log in and identify the various different fields. And we're also using it as the government client that I'm using, that I'm consulting with, where they have a SAML. So that's OpenAM. So it should work with both or many different ones. I've tried to make it as sort of broad and as possible to fetch various stuff.
Yeah, really this speciality to mention and point it on again, it's really a cool new idea. I did not see that just before, that we have now a first concept of combining two middlewares that together do their work. So the one login with the authentication part, and then reuse the simple proxy for the proxying part then for that. And the trick is then just that the one login middleware is already providing this cookie information to the request, and then the whole forwarding to the simple proxy does the rest. That's really, really impressive and cool.
And also, just to show, it's only on the very, like after you serve, it's only on the very first render of the app that it takes a bit longer on the index. After that, every refresh is fine. If you stop your server and restart it, it will again have to fetch a new cookie. And if you haven't refreshed, I guess, in the time your login cookie works for, so I don't know whether that's an hour or 30 minutes or what it is, then maybe it'll run out and it'll error, and then you'll need to restart your server. But it's working quite nicely, and it's really, like, it's helped me a lot, especially with this government client, because it's been very, very tedious to try and get this stuff up and running with both, like changing the authentication procedure, etc., etc.
Yeah, really, really
cool. That's
cool.
what I had to share.
Really impressive and real life coding, cool. And the gods were with you, as one has written. Volker, I think.
Well, makes it easier when I've got the snippets prepared already. So
it's
hard to do any errors.
Thing, good practice to take over. Okay, thanks so much.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks a lot, Jakob, especially for dialing in so late. If there are no questions, and I'm not aware of any, of course, a round of applause.
Well deserved.
Then we can go right over to Marcel and about how he enhanced the Easy-UI5 generator.
And it's really hard to come after Jakob, so it would be easier for me if I could start with the sessions, but I will try my best. So what I would like to share with you today, guys, is our experience with private templates. Why it, in our opinion, makes sense to have private templates or private UI5 templates, and what is our solution so far. And as a new solution we worked on the last days or weeks together also with Peter. This is what I want to share with you now. So the main motivation we have for our templates is that we want to have a standardized project setup for all of our UI5 applications, standardized in terms of the static code analysis tools we use, standardized in terms of the CI pipelines, the vulnerability scanners, for example, the code formatting tools like Prettier, and also the UI5 tooling. So have a really standardized set of custom middlewares and tasks we use for building and developing and also deploying UI5 applications. The approach before the rise of Easy-UI5, so to say, was that we really configured everything manually. So we sit down, wrote a 5 to 10 page documentation. We try to write it really comprehensive, so that really everybody has the chance to proper set up his UI5 project. This approach really has some obvious disadvantages. It's time consuming. So I remember at the beginning when we setting up our first projects regarding these standards, it took us 1 to 2 hours to really set up the UI5 project. The next disadvantage, it's error prone. You have to handle with YAML files if you want wrong indentation, and everything is broken. And also something we experience is no matter how good your documentation is, there will always be questions and problems within your dev teams. So we decided I was more or less the guy who supported our dev team, so I also had an intrinsic motivation inside me to improve that. Another important point which you have have to consider is that this project setup is really no one-time tasks. So the tools are evolving. There are cool new custom middlewares, custom tasks outside there, and you want to always bring them back to your also legacy projects, so to say. Yeah, that's why we thought of a better solution. And yeah, luckily Marius then had the time and the idea for Easy-UI5 back in February 2019. And yeah, once he published Easy-UI5, we really fast recognized that this could also solve a lot of our problems and save us a lot of time and resources. Yeah, so we had a look into his implementation, and yeah, we noticed that it's not quite hard to write your own generators. And so yeah, we just did it. We forked the Easy-UI5 to have within our organization an own generator. I think it took us I think 1 or 2 days, and we have really had it tailored to our needs, doing all this project setup in an automated way. Yeah, we also evolved with the evolvement of UI5 and the framework itself. I think it was in mid of 2020 when UI5 tooling was published. We also brought it back to our templates. And the latest change we did was we introduced a template for TypeScript application development so that we have an easy start for our UI5 devs, also with TypeScript and UI5. Yeah, but this fork really has also some disadvantages you may can think of. So the first disadvantage was every time the templates in the community evolved, we always had to manually bring it back into our templates. So new best practices, for example, also really new cool templates from the UI5 community. That's what was really our pain points. And that was also the case, the reason why I asked the question in the last UI5ers live to the audience if there is a plan to also enhance Easy-UI5 to support private templates. And yeah, immediately in that session, Peter contacted me, dropped me a message and asked, hey, let's see together, tell me your needs. And yeah, I think we did so. It was, I think, exactly 2 weeks ago where we came together for a 1 hour session. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I showed him our needs, the use cases, and yeah, we immediately started diving deep into Easy-UI5 and developed a little prototype which was able to consume templates from an additional GitHub organization. Yeah, now we are here and I can show you this little cool new feature. So yeah, I also developed a little sample generator, so to say, how you can customize existing templates from the UI5 community, and I will showcase that now to you. So we come up with an additional CLI option, so you can specify an additional GitHub org or a GitHub user repository. In this case, it's really my repository, and Easy-UI5 will then download the templates once from the community GitHub org and also from this additional user repository or GitHub organization. So you can now see the community templates and also the templates within my GitHub user repository. So it's one time this Easy-UI5 fork I worked on the last weeks and this UI5 customizer. Let's start this UI5 customizer to scaffold a new application. So you can see it consists of an app generator and a sub generator, a customizer generator, which is in the end doing the work for you. And let's just scaffold a new UI5 application and go with the defaults. Yeah. So I made several use cases, or I want to demonstrate several use cases. One use case could be to overwrite existing files, for example, bringing in custom ESLint rules or prettier configurations. Another could be to extend the UI5 YAML with the middlewares you want to use or the tasks you want to use for building your application. Another one could be for bringing in reuse modules to this template. Maybe I can show what I did. So the first thing I did, I brought in my own ESLint rules. You will see the result in a few seconds. You saw, for example, you can have additional files like a pipeline YAML or configuration file for static code analysis tools and stuff like that. Another thing you can do is, for example, bringing in reuse modules. I brought in this OData promise model, which is not implemented yet, but you can, or you may have really UI5 modules you use throughout every application. yeah, you can easily bring them in with this customizing generators. As you see, I also extended the package JSON with a custom command. So here this cause command and the def dependencies, and I also extended the UI5 YAML. So for those who are familiar with the template, there's not yet a live transpiling task in it, and also custom and transpile tasks. So it's also possible to do that, to manipulate the YAML files within your sub generator. Yeah, maybe as next step we can have a look into the generator itself. Yeah, this is how it's looking like. So we have this app generator and this customizer generator, so to say. So this in this index.js of the app generator, we are just composing the app generator from the community template. So yeah, this is only for standalone usage. So you can also run this standalone without Easy-UI5. Yeah, it's important that you first run the community generator because you want to override files from this generator. And yeah, that's why you have to compose then your sub generator. And then the more interesting ones, yeah, as always, these templates, this will be then written within our customizer generator. So we have this writing step, which is more or less the standard task for copying the templates from the source to the destination. And then maybe more interesting, how to extend the package JSON. Yeah, it's just a JavaScript object. I reuse the functionality from the community template. So there are some convenience functions you can use to create JSON files, to create YAML files, and also to manipulate them. So I just use them for manipulating the package JSON, and then also for manipulating the UI5 YAML in the end. This is a bit exceptional. You may wonder why I use these installation tasks. So within the community app generator, there's used another sub generator to scaffold the web app files and also the UI5 YAML. And this sub generator is composed within the writing step. And that's why this writing step runs before the writing step of this web app sub generator. That's why I have to use really a task which is running after all the writing steps of the other generators. That's why it's done here in this installation task. And yeah, in the end, I spawned this little cause command. So yeah, these are really the use cases. Maybe we can have a look into the app again. So what you can see here, I introduced my own lint rules. So yeah, we're using E6 syntax instead of the bit older ES5 notation. Yeah, as I said, additional files like YAML files you can bring in these reuse modules. And yeah, you can easily manipulate every file you want and tailor these templates really to your needs. And I'm really happy if you have any other ideas. But I would be really happy if you have any other ideas or use cases. So yeah, really interested also in how you are doing that at the moment. If you are doing it manually or with some magic Node.js scripts or stuff like that. Yeah, maybe I can also share later the GitHub repository where you have this demo showcase and can have a look.
Yeah, cool, Marcel. So basically, the idea behind that is two things. On the one hand side, we made it possible that you can use and include templates from other organizations from a user, organization and a user. And this allows you then to enhance the templates being part of the Easy-UI5 generator. So you keep this as a one entry point, more or less. And the other thing, which is pretty cool here, is the way how you extend the existing templates with a little bit of additional code on top to do and add additional flavors. Like you said, here in this case, prettier config or ESLint config. And on the other hand side, we have then the possibility to also think of adding the middlewares into the server in order to make this a bit simpler to extend that. That's really, really cool.
And maybe another use case I just thought of this morning is you can also use this not only for scaffolding new projects. You also have the possibility, if, for example, your lint rules change, you can just run this sub generator within an existing project.
Yeah,
you can bring the standards to the project spec. Yeah,
that would be the part also for the middlewares to add it then also in your existing projects afterwards, that you don't need to type all the things again and again.
Yeah,
but it was a really nice thing. And after I got also your idea, and it was quite obvious that this is also okay. I was a bit concerned from a security perspective on the first thing, but as this is now really an argument you need to specify, or an NPM configuration, which we see also a bit later, then this is at the end a very easy thing what everyone can set up there, and you can then for your department then make sure that you use the central templates together with your custom templates.
Yeah, maybe one thing we can think of is using tags for the app templates, because now I rely really on a git hash, a git commit hash in the package dependency. So maybe for future use,
still room for improvement.
Yeah,
that's true.
Definitely.
Okay, then thanks a lot, Marcel. I don't see any question to this topic. So let's get right to Nico. If you could introduce yourself and what you're up to, what you're doing.
Sure. So hi, everyone. Thanks, first of all, Marcel, for the great demo. And also, by the way, thanks for the pull request on the Easy-UI5 generator. To introduce myself real quick, I'm Nico. I'm a developer advocate at SAP in the DevRel team. Joined last year in November, and I sort of inherited a lot of topics from Marius Obert. Probably a lot of you guys know him. He also came up with the Easy-UI5 generator after all. So I also inherited that from him, and I'll do my best to maintain that, own that. But still, I'm happy to get all your PRs anyway. So based on what Marcel already showed you, I'll quickly share my screen and show you another way of adding a GitHub org or a user to the things you see when you run Easy-UI5. So let me just run Easy-UI5 the way it is just now. And you can probably see, here we go, that I have the standard sub-generators that we have in there. Let me kill that, and let me now run, I think I have it somewhere here. Yeah, there we go. So it's not get, but now I'll set a config to the npm config, set Easy-UI5, add GitHub org. That's the way it should be. And now I will just set that to my GitHub user and then run Easy-UI5 again. And yeah, there we go. So here we now have my fork of the Easy-UI5 thing in there as well. So that's just the same as saying yo Easy-UI5 and then have it as a command line argument. I can just leave that out because I have it in my npm config now. That's just another way of doing it. I thought it might be cool to share that. So Marcel, you could always have your thing behind there and don't need to specify it with every command you run. But anyway, I think you got it. So I actually prepared a blog post about this, about the new release of Easy-UI5 version 3.2.0, but I think we are at 3.2.2 already now.
Some fixes.
Yeah. Anyway, I prepared that a couple of days ago. That's why. So I'll release that once this call is over. Here we explained exactly what we showed you just a minute ago. We explained in this blog post, just so that we have it somewhere documented. And we also made some other changes, so we now have a cool change log here. Thanks, Peter, again. Anyway, so I'm drifting away here. I have one more thing that I wanted to share with you guys. What I have been working on the past weeks.
Let me just, Nico, because in the release of in this blog post, what is also interesting about that, if you go back to the blog post, there is some additional things, this prerequisite section, which also explains that you can also provide a GitHub auth token, not to only have public generators, also your private ones would then be considered. That's also a nice thing if you just do something for your own, play a bit around, and you use the GitHub auth token to use it from there. And for sure, you can also have a different prefix. Just that to conclude that part, and I think the rest is then in the blog post.
Yeah, that's right. Because usually, it looks for the generator dash prefix for all the generators, but you can specify that as well. Thanks, Peter. So another thing I have been working on is a new playlist for the SAP developers YouTube channel. It is called 2 Minutes Off, and what I do there is I share very short videos about UI5, and the way I came up with just very short tutorial style videos, and the content is basically, or it's pretty much exactly what is shown in the UI5 walkthrough in the official docs. I don't know if you guys know that, but that's kind of what that was my resource where I started out with UI5 just 2 or 3 months ago. And this tutorial series here on YouTube is now my way of documenting that learning process and sharing it with the world. So I'll put the link to the YouTube series in the chat right here. So check it out if you want. As I said, it's based on the UI5 walkthrough. It's very short, 2 minutes videos. I'll try to do like 1 episode a week. And yeah, I appreciate any feedback. Let me know what you think, and also like any ideas you have for future episodes as well. So currently I'm at the app router stage. So I started out with a blank standard HTML file. Now I'm at the app router stage. Next week we'll build the thing and deploy it to Cloud Foundry, and then we'll see what comes afterwards. So I'm looking forward to your suggestions on the features I should put in there. But anyway, that's it from my side. Thanks a lot, guys.
Yeah, very nice, Nico. Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks a lot, Nico. And of course, we'll share all the links in YouTube as well when we put the video up there. It's now in the chat, and we'll just share it below the YouTube video then. So nice to have you on board, Nico. That's great.
Thanks.
And I'm looking forward to what else comes from you in the next time. Are there any more questions? I don't see any so far. Then it seems like we are at the end of the session. So thank you for joining. Thanks to everyone, especially to Jakob, Marcel, and Nico for being our guests here and for presenting their great stuff. See you next time.
If you have cool ideas,
that's what I was going to say, but you can take over now, Peter.
No, Andreas, I don't want, because you see what happened when cool ideas come together. Then you can do really a great session and bring the UI5 stuff to the next level. So that's what I just want to add. Feel free to reach out.
Maybe I have a cool idea is reuse modules for UI5 with the NPM UI5 tooling modules, middleware or task. Yeah, that would be a cool topic for one of the next UI5ers live.
Okay.
The thing which we had on the tweet.
Okay, so when you have also an idea, your project could also be featured, your idea, then just contact us by mail, openui5@sap.com, or in the Slack channel UI5ers Live. And yeah, apart from that, see you next time. March 10th is the next UI5ers Live. Yeah, see you then. Goodbye.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Bye. Bye. Bye.
See you again.